Oh, guys, welcome to Box Football. When I first Jack mentioned this, I didn't think it was going to be that eventful, but it might be eventful, guys, because by the looks of it right now, Leicester City's Harvey Barnes has just scored, meaning at the moment Everton might be getting relegated. This is we love a little bit of drama now. It's not the drama of the Premier League title and all that sort of stuff there, but we love a bit of drama. We're gonna keep up to date with all the stuff going on there. I might have to put on. I don't know how I'm gonna have to. I might have to switch things because I want to see all the games.
Yeah. I was gonna say, how are you watch? Because I kind of got mine right over here.
I got a little bit of this here, so I got the iPad up too, just watching it. And Everton fans, oh, this is looking a bit tragic right now for them. But guys, just vibe with us, yo, Sammy.
Yeah, we're like
Sammy,
guys, we're just like I'm
we
not
need
gonna lie to you. This is not. Yeah, what's up, Sammy? Like again, this is not buttoned up. This is James and I have no plan. We're gonna let the day happen. Well, I say the day, the couple of hours. We're gonna let it happen. React accordingly, and also, guys, stuff's gonna come up to talk about. Let's not forget here. The Premier League curtain, like, it is shut once this finishes. We know the deal, and we're into the off season straight away.
you
FA
know
Cup
what?
final.
You know what, Sammy?
Can't
So
believe
me
we're
and Sammy
talking
are big
basketball like 5 minutes
NBA
in.
fans right now. Listen, Jimmy Butler is a stud. What he did yesterday was incredible. Sometimes you put your hands up, and that was I didn't watch it, but I seen the replays. That was possibly a greater finish than the Heat versus the Spurs in 2013. That's how crazy the finish was.
Team sport, though, again, that's my one thing with basketball. Obviously, James, you and I love, like, again, I don't know if we necessarily think they're good analysts, but the entertainment of like Skip and Shannon and all that, all their kind of stuff, and all those guys on Fox, like, it's a team sport. If you actually look at his numbers and what he's contributed, and then maybe you compare that to some of the other guys, you do kind of look at it and go, could somebody else have not picked up the slack here? Why has it always got to be that one guy? Great series, though. Great
Oh,
series.
incredible series.
But yeah, like, guys, like I said, we're closing. This is it. This is it. We're into the off
100%,
season
Sammy.
as this happens. FA Cup and Champions League, obviously rolls on, but that is not Premier League. There's a lot to talk about here, James. First of all, I wanted to just ask you as well, are there any players here who you think need to have big performances because of the offseason they're about to go into? I look at the likes of like a Mason Mount, what's his offseason going to be? James Maddison, James, Yuri Tielemans as well. He might still be a Premier League player, but he's going to be a free agent too. Is there any name that sticks out to you? Guys who we might not see again as well?
Um, I think a goal nearly went in for. I think a goal. Sorry, I'm
No.
looking at you.
Hey, this is what it's all about.
Players that I feel like are gonna have a big ups. Yeah, Yuri Tielemans, Mason Mount is another one, but Mason Mount isn't playing right now.
James
Who's
Ward-Prowse. Like, I
James
look at
Ward-Prowse,
James Ward-Prowse,
big
like,
one, big one.
dude, James Ward-Prowse is a Southampton legend. Like, let's not get it twisted. Southampton legend, but he's going to be
Mhm.
in the Championship. You're telling me that a guy who hits that homegrown status for a Premier League team isn't going to be available, especially in the Championship, for, under 40, you've got to say, million, maybe even 30 or less.
Less than that, Jack. I think less than that. If I'm being truthfully honest here.
I just don't know when the last time he signed a contract. I don't know if he's got a lot of years left on a contract. I feel like he might.
Do you know what it is? Is that I feel like a lot of players that like we're gonna mention have already shown their worth, Jack. It's just that they're waiting on that move. Like somebody like James Maddison, for instance. What's gonna happen to him if Leicester do
Right.
stay up? By the looks of it right now, Leicester are on course to stay up. Does he stay at Leicester, or let's be true, does he get that move to the champion? Because we're hearing all the Newcastle stuff, and also Jack, when Newcastle getting Champions League football, is it James Maddison a player that they're going to point to that he's going to take us over the edge to challenge in the Champions League?
I don't think he's that next step guy. And you and I have spoken about this very, very briefly recently. There are some players who need to, well, say it players. There are some teams who need to stick or twist. And let me explain
Mhm.
what I mean by that. Financially speaking, in the running of a football club, right, it costs a lot of money to be able to win a Premier League. There are a few teams who are going to be relatively happy just making top four and continuously doing that. But James, there are like 7 or 8 teams who think they should be at least challenging for top 4 positions, right? So the problem that we start to have then is, right, how much money do we put in to finish 5th or 6th and play in the Europa League? And also, James, we've seen the quality of the Europa League lately. We're
Jack,
not
the quality,
messing around here anymore.
quality is
Sevilla, okay,
high.
Roma is a bit silly. But James, Roma have, I mean, you're going to think I'm crazy here, but like Lorenzo Pellegrini, Jose Mourinho is your manager. Like, Sevilla is the opposition. Like, there's no bums in these kinds of competitions anymore. I watched, it kept coming up on my Twitter as well, James. The Europa Conference League final. James, the way the players celebrated and the way the Feyenoord players were upset last year was crazy. I thought this would be like the Community Shield EFL Cup version of a cup competition in Europe. James, these players really care about it. So the Europa League is a big deal anymore. And if you're putting a bunch of money in to not get the Champions League money and then to not really guarantee yourself a seat at the table for the final of the Europa League, is there even much of a point in you slumping up a bunch of money for a particular player instead of finding a better value player lower down the pecking order? And that's kind of the problem at the moment for me.
But I think like if you're an owner or if you're somebody there, you have to spend. People go and like you talk about your your investments, your return on your investment. Jack, football isn't like American football where you can have a bad stretch of 2-3 years. If you have a bad 4 or 5 years, Jack, you could end up in League One, League
Right.
Two. You can't mess up. So reevaluating and constantly investing is a part of the game. As
100%.
Jack, as I said, there's only one Premier League winner. Arsenal, with the great season we have, there's only one Premier League winner. There's only
Right.
4 trophies available out of out of the hundreds of teams that are there. But no matter what, you have to invest somehow, some way. I'm not always in agreement on hearing a return for your money, because what is a return for your money? Is it trophies or is it getting revenue? Because for instance, right now, Liverpool, okay, they might not have won this year. Are you trying to tell me that Liverpool made a loss this season, Jack?
Oh no, definitely. I mean, well, maybe on this season, maybe, but when they won the Champions League and when they won the Premier League, that's going to have supplemented this year. Then maybe having like a little bit of a. Do you know what I mean? That success, it carries you over for a couple of years. It's like it's the same with the parachute payments for the Premier League. If you make it to the Premier League, the reason why even if you go straight back down, you've got to still see it as a success. Is all that money that you've got to then play with to build the infrastructure at your club, to build a culture, to then build a team that's then available to be in that league and stay in that league.
First of all, right now, Sky Bet are taking the Mickey right now. I'm trying to place a little thing right now. There's no games available, Jack. But
I have. I think I told you this before we started. I have every single team to score except for the Newcastle Chelsea game. And James, Newcastle and Chelsea both scored. What the hell is that? How does one of the worst attacks in the league against arguably the best defense in the league? How did both teams score? What the hell is that?
oh, listen, betting is the worst thing. But Jack, you know what? I got one of the most depressing sort of calls today. My friend Jed, who's been on the show hundreds of times, told us,
Oh yeah.
James.
Also, Jadon Sancho just scored. I know Jed's not going to be happy about that. He can't post his troops. What is it? His troops photo, the Kennington one.
To be fair, he don't really do that much, But coming to Kennington. But yeah, he called me and he goes, James, today should have been the day that Arsenal lift up the Premier
Oh
League. Jack,
nah.
a few months ago, let's say 5 weeks ago, when Arsenal were ahead by a good distance, tickets for this final game was going for £3,000. People were paying for it.
Jesus Christ, man.
And think about it. You're going there the final day, and we are 3-0 up, nice and fine like that. But this was meant to be a celebration. This was meant to be a parade in our city moment. And the fact that we're here, we're kind of egg on our faces.
It's
it is.
it's
Jack,
rough.
Jack, I was the mug looking for them tickets. I'm not gonna lie. I was the
Oh
mug looking for them tickets.
yeah.
Jack, let me know. I'm not sure if I would have paid 3K. Probably would have paid like
No.
100. I probably would have paid 300 for it, but not
maybe
3K.
maybe 3K if you if you know they're gonna win and it's confirmed. Oh,
Yeah.
also Sammy's comment: what games you guys watching? My Everton stream was sticking. I've gone to watch United.
Oh, Everton. Oof. Bournemouth.
Solanke, Bournemouth. No.
Yes.
Also, Sammy, just to let you know, I'm watching Sky Sports. I'm a huge Jeff Stelling's from where I'm from, or at least maybe not from, but lives in and around where I live. I've I've seen him on golf courses, that kind of thing, and like Jeff Stelling's been doing Soccer Saturday since before I was born. So yeah, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I might be in floods of tears when Jeff Stelling signs off for this one, because guy's a legend. I need to grab my food. Give me 2 seconds.
So, guys, again, if you have any comments for me and Jack, today is just really on just a chill thing, not really too much like big stuff that we want to get into. It's the final day. There's not much going on. Just guys, just a relegation battle. But overall, guys, if you have a question for us, we're
Yeah.
always willing to answer. Hit us with whatever you want. Make sure it's not personal. Yeah, just make sure it is not personal. But Jack, another big thing. How do you feel about Luton being promoted to the Premier League?
Oh, it's great. I think it's great. I think these are the exact kind of stories we need, and actually, it's the conversation that I got into with my housemates here as well. What I think is kind of fascinating as well, as much as I love the fact Luton Town are involved and stuff, James, these are going to be Salford and Wrexham before we know it. You know what I mean? We are probably going to have these kinds of teams being involved, these kind of quick, rags to riches kinds of things. And again, for me, what I think is the most satisfying thing for me to see is the teams that when they come up, you go, what the hell are they going to do? And then they create themselves as proper fixtures in this league. James, when Brighton came up, did you think we'd be talking about the team that arguably plays the best, most attractive football in the whole league in 2023?
No.
Insane.
No.
Absolutely insane. Brentford, Thomas Frank, what they've got going on. Absolutely insane what these teams are capable of. When Leicester came up, obviously Leicester are historically such a great team. But James, Leicester then came up and won the league. I think the exciting thing for me, James, remember when Swansea came up and were playing that insane football? When they came up too.
With Brendan Rodgers.
Right, like that was amazing with Brendan Rodgers and blah 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 and all this kind of stuff. Blackpool, do you remember Blackpool? Charlie Adam Blackpool kind of football as well. Like they were playing some nice stuff at points. What I think I love the most is these teams coming up and then potentially imposing themselves on the league. It's not just fodder for the big teams to destroy. It's potentially something that's going to come up and be this great thing. James, Wolves going forward, I'm super excited for what Wolves are going to be.
1 second, Jack.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Sammy, how many goals are City going to beat Inter Milan by? Hey, look, I've got 1-0 Inter. Edin Dzeko is going to score a worldie.
Jack, do you really have 1-0 Inter?
No, of course not. I think City win. I'm just saying. Oh man, dude, I love Paul Merson on the Everton game. It's hilarious. Oh man. James, where does Erling Haaland rank all time in Premier League strikers already for you?
Already for me, Jack?
Yeah, you kind of set the criteria. I'm going to let you play with that one however you want.
He's definitely up there, Jack. I think this is I feel like we have underrated him because the fact that when you actually look at it, he only kind of done it for a year, and granted he plays for Manchester City. That is a thing that people are always going to look at and say, oh, is he really that good? Oh, it's come a bit easy for him. No, Jack, as a pure goal scorer, he might leave this country. I don't think he's the best player because I believe there's two things. You can be very good at something but not be the best player. Somebody can be great at tackling but not be the best defender. Somebody could be the best header of the ball but cannot be the best, I don't know, midfielder or like maybe you might be the best passer, but you might not be the best midfielder overall. He possibly could go down as the greatest goal scorer, but not go down as the greatest player we've ever seen. Jack, you mentioned layers of Erling Haaland's game. I do believe that there's limits to his game. I do believe there's certain bits that I look at his game and think like, okay, in certain situations, like for instance, Jackie Pease, like he is from Norway, and he's gonna have to see can he get Norway into a Euros or a World Cup with the way he plays. Can he do that?
Mm-hmm.
Can he go missing for 180 minutes and do that for
Well,
Norway?
we saw
No. But
Zlatan do it for years.
no, but Zlatan, but think about it, Zlatan doesn't go missing. Zlatan
No,
is the one that
he's still a
everything
fixture.
goes, everything goes through him. I'm
Yeah.
not sure like Erling Haaland can do that sort of stuff there. But again, as an overall goal scorer, Jack, he possibly could go down as the best. Now, if he does it next season too and gets to another 30, 35, we have a conversation. Is he the best number 9 striker?
I will say, because I want to keep this, I want to be fair, and also I don't want to let the side down in terms of, I don't want to let the side down in terms of me talking out of both sides of my mouth and criticizing one player for one thing and then not criticizing another player for another thing. James, who has the most big chances missed in the Premier League this year?
Let me Google it right now.
No,
It's
no, no,
rather
no. Guess.
it's rather Erling Haaland or Mo Salah.
Guess.
It's Haaland.
It's Haaland. Do you know it's 28? Guess how many points the person in second. Guess how many big chances missed the person in second is.
17.
So Haaland's at 28. It's 20. Darwin Nunez with 20.
Wow.
So again, I want to hold my hands up here, and I think I've been pretty consistent with this. James and I have not been foaming at the mouth and Erling Haaland, best thing ever, best thing since sliced bread, blah 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 blah. This is still a guy similar to Mo Salah in many ways, who benefits from the system in which he's playing in. James and I didn't pick him as my player of the season. James, you did, I think, right? But for me, I didn't pick him as my player of the season. I think there are guys who could have been in the position that Erling Haaland was in, who could have potentially had a better return. Now, he is the guy in that position, and he's the one feasting. He's the one setting records. He's the one doing all this stuff. But I think, James, you and I agree on this. You actually look at the goals and the return. Is there anything groundbreaking where you go, what? Dude, no one in the world can do that. Oof, that's crazy. You know what I mean? That's my different kind of thing with it.
We said this a while ago, Jack, is that can people do what he did in this Manchester City team? I don't think so. Because Jack, remember, as dominant as Sergio Aguero is, and granted, Jack Aguero had a lot of injuries, he didn't score these type of goals when Guardiola was there. Like
Right.
Jack wasn't like he was on. No, Jack at his peak, like he didn't score as many goals as what this guy's got.
Right.
It's just, to me, it's just the way it is that he's put into this situation and he's become a monster.
Yeah.
He's become a monster at what he does. Now, is he going to make us go, oh, like a Kylian Mbappe? Is he going to do things, Jack? Because I always look at footballers and can I do what you do? Can I do what Erling Haaland does from the point of view, score 50-odd goals? No. But you look at the goals he scores, you look at the way he plays, it isn't anything else like, oh, I haven't seen that before.
And he's feasted on the poor a little bit. Like scoring in individual games.
Yeah.
Kane scored in more games than Erling Haaland has this year. Now,
Really?
I'm not trying to... Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kane has scored in more individual games. He has missed... I think he's only played like 33 games, Jack.
Who's that?
Erling Haaland. I think he's only is played like 33 games. So Sammy's going to say right now, I'm the biggest fan of Kane, but he won't score as much. And Hassan, I tend to agree with you because, again, the style is completely different to me. I don't think Kane has the ability to be as patient as Erling Haaland. I think Erling Haaland's biggest skill, Jack, for me, is his ability to be patient.
Yeah, I agree.
And Jack, that's something that even when I play, now obviously I don't play to the level of like these guys here, but to be patient and not touch the ball for a certain amount of time. but to be patient and not touch the ball and be on your toes and wait for these opportunities to come, Jack, it's a skill. And what he
Yeah.
does, Jack, is a skill in itself. Jack, he doesn't touch. Jack, you won't see Erling Haaland. There's games where he might have 6 touches of the ball before he scores. That is very, very difficult to be engaged for that long and be ready to take that opportunity. How many times you hear? Go on, Jack.
He's appeared in 35 games this year, and
In the in the
Kane's
Premier League.
done, and Kane's done 38. Kane's appeared in every game.
He does, Jack, and he actually does make that point there because he does get subbed a lot early for someone
Well,
like
why?
Julian Alvarez
But
to come
again,
on.
again, availability is the best ability. Blah blah blah. If Kane's been in every game, and this has been
No, Jack, the reason
historically
why
an
he gets
injury.
subbed up because Guardiola wants to give somebody like Julian Alvarez the opportunity too.
Yeah. But yeah, look, I'm just saying, I feel a little bit like, similarly in many ways to Mo Salah historically. And again, Haaland's operating on a completely different level than Mo Salah ever did. Believe me, right?
Jack, I don't think so. I think he scored more because Jack, we must understand about Mo Salah is that, Jack, you have to give Mo Salah credit for what he did and what he did for that Liverpool. Jack, the goals he scored sometimes, I was like, Jack, you remember the goal he scored last season against Manchester City where he's taking it, he's dropping shoulders. The
But
goal he scored against Roma. The goal
last year was my most impressive year for him. I said that to you last year. Last season, I was more impressed with Salah than I was the years before, for sure. Because he was doing stuff where you go, he's just single-handedly doing it.
Yeah, but Jack, you must understand, Jack, even in his first season, Jack, some of the goals he was scoring, the goal against Tottenham, the goal, I think it was against Everton, Jack, he scored so many amazing goals from his own, like individually. I do believe, like Mo Salah's possibly the best in the Liverpool team individually. Okay, get me a goal out of nothing. You look at that front three, nobody can do nobody can do that the way Mo Salah did it for that Liverpool team for me.
Yeah.
While I look at somebody like Erling Haaland, I haven't felt once, wow, individually it's out of this world. But again, he operates in a system, and Jack, that system works for him,
Right. And what's crazy is we could put him in a different system, and I think he'd score less goals, but he'd be more effective. That's just, and again, it's just my opinion. I think his strengths do not benefit playing in this Man City team. As crazy as you might think that sounds, because he's just set a record for it, I think he can be more effective and more devastating in a team where they play a slightly different way. That would just be my only thing. The thing that interests me most, though, James, if he does this in his first year, how do we think he's going to do next year or the year after when he's comfortable with it, when he has better relationships and better understanding with the players that he's in, when Pep brings in players to replace Ilkay Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, some maybe fullbacks or whatever, players who can come in, who Pep specifically picks to get the best out of their most dangerous player. That's, James, we might have only just scratched the surface this year of what Erling Haaland could do in terms of numbers.
I like to think, Jack, I think he might take a chill pill next year. I don't think he's. I think he'll touch 30, but I don't think he'll touch. I think he'll be in and around the 30 mark. And Jack, that's still incredibly impressive.
Insane.
I don't think he's going to be record breaking as he has been this season. And Jack, credit to myself. I went back and looked at some of our videos. I did kind of call that he was going to break the record when he first. I think about it when he first.
And I'll hold my hands up. I thought he'd get 2021. I thought he'd get 2021. That was my guess. I think I set the over under at like 19 and a half, 20 and a half. So like for him to do what he's done is to me insane. Insane. The only other thing I'll say about him getting more comfortable, I would say that teams will know how to play him more because they have more film and more thing to study and how to prevent it. But James, when you're that big and you're that strong and you're that fast and you're that hungry and you're that feisty and you've got players like Kevin De Bruyne serving you the ball, I don't know if there is stopping that.
Jack, there's always a way. Erling Haaland's his physique is terrifying, and I think, Jack, the biggest thing for me that makes Erling Haaland so good, I don't think his movement in the box is sick in everything like that, and it's obviously his best attribute in his game. But Jack, I think his ability to run in behind, Jack, And when he gets shoulder to shoulder, some Jack, the way he shrugs people off is insane. My only thing for Erling Haaland is that can he be better as a finisher? I think he's a great guy for sniffing where the ball is going to drop, but can he now? Because we don't know, Jack. First of all, Guardiola, he's always going to come with something different. Jack, just give me a second right now. Let's take over. Just give me a second. Just give me
Sammy, I can see your comment. Broke my heart yesterday.
Oh, Jack, you know what? Let's
growing
talk
up,
about it.
growing
Let's
up,
talk about it.
growing up, one of my favorite players. My favorite players. I even got my hair cut like him when I was 17. Marco Reus. Marco Reus was my favorite player for a long, long time. Right. I don't know how they bottled that yesterday. I'm not trying to say that Mainz are a terrible team. I know they're a mid-table, solid team that plays some nice football, blah, blah, blah. That would have been a nice, little bit of a diamond, little bit of a cherry, nice little bright spark to a largely disappointing, unfulfilled career for Marco Reus. Borussia Dortmund legend. Did he even win a World Cup? Did he even go to the World Cup that Germany won?
No, Jack.
No.
I think Jack. He was in the squad, but I think they had to take off. They had to take away his place. But I think he might have gotten a medal because Jack, he would have played. That's undoubted.
Elegant player, fast, like surprisingly fast, good finisher, great dribbler, blah blah blah, all this stuff, good leader. And again, you've seen all the memes, you've seen all the social media. Everyone around him left. Everybody bailed, but he stuck it out. He stayed. He had crazy options to leave. I think Arsenal, it was close with Arsenal, I think at one point, I seem to remember. But he's had crazy options to leave Borussia Dortmund. Never done it, and it should have happened yesterday for him. He should have won that, lifted that trophy, and him and his team a little bit let the side down. Devastating, and yeah, Bayern were left off the hook. I'm glad that Salimovic, I always get his name wrong, and Khan have gone, because again, I think it has been disappointing for Bayern at the level which they should be operating at. But yeah, Dortmund, they should have twisted the knife and won it yesterday, and I'm disappointed they didn't.
Jack, I don't even think it's disappointing. I think this is what Borussia Dortmund have been. You know, Bayern Munich have now won 11 league titles in a row. And granted, yeah, it is 11 league titles, but Jack, it's not like they've been this dominant. You know, it's probably Jack since Pep. I think Borussia Dortmund have given Bayern at least 2 or 3 league titles to me.
Right.
Where it's kind of been they're in control, and they fumble it at the final stage, and this one is easily by far the biggest one, Jack. People at the start of the day were talking about the fact of, Jack, okay, yeah, Borussia Dortmund were able to win last week, but we don't believe that they had the ability to win at home in a final day against a team who's playing against nothing. Everybody was saying that because they knew what Borussia Dortmund was like. And Jack, it came to fruition. Granted, Marco Reus was on the bench. Don't know what happened to him. Jude Bellingham didn't play. But you have to get over the line in this situation.
Yes. At home too. Come on. With those fans.
You know, exactly. The yellow wall, there is no excuse. And what they did yesterday was an absolute shambles, Jack. And the thing that to me epitomized the issue, or the thing that I disliked the most about what Borussia Dortmund were about yesterday, was when they heard that I think it was I can't remember who Bayern were playing, but like the team got the equalizer and won all. Yeah, Cologne in the Bayern game. Everybody started celebrating. The players on the bench were up and like almost giving the players know that, guys, chill, Bayern are down. We don't have to win. I'm like, what? Don't let them know, guys. Because Bayern just because Bayern are down, you put the foot on their neck. Get this team, get to 2-2, get to the get to the 3-2, and leave no doubt. They left that door open, believing that Bayern weren't going to come back. And I think that was the biggest cardinal sin, Jack. 10 minutes ago, you kind of take the foot off the pedal because the crowd's cheering. No, you can't do that. And they suffered, to me, the ultimate sucker punch. Well, to me, it was well deserved for you celebrating in that sort of manner. So, like, overall, that I look at it, I wanted Borussia Dortmund to win. But this is just, to me, the history of a Borussia Dortmund. You know, it's in Jack since Klopp really just what it is.
Yeah,
Rather
and
they're going to give Bayern their players or the league, both. I can't say either one. They get both Bayern Munich.
and I think the other problem is, oh my God, Southampton have scored a third. Jesus, Southampton 3, Liverpool 2. That's insane. What a game, Jesus. I think the other thing I think about James that's a letdown. We've had some bursts, right, from Bayer Leverkusen, from historically from Schalke. Wolfsburg have been really nice at points. I want to say Werder Bremen had a strong few years, maybe a couple decades ago as well. James, who's that third or fourth team that's going to put up a bit of a fight? Because
Um,
I hate because James, like if you had to pick a team that's similar to Bayern Munich in terms of the way they're respected in the league, you'd probably pick like Man City, right? Where did Dortmund rank as a threat as a Premier League comparison? Is it kind
Jack,
of like Spurs ish?
Jack, I think it is a Spurs. I think that they're possibly a better overall team than like the Spurs, but they carry the sort of Spurs mentality, Jack.
Right.
But Jack, the biggest thing to me yesterday, if I was two things, if I was Bayern Munich and the Bundesliga, as much as obviously Bayern happy to win it, I feel like they should be a little bit disappointed because I feel like it kind of taints the league, Jack. It really does taint the league that Bayern can be this poor. They sack their manager. They have issues with players fighting and all that sort of stuff. They're not the same. The top goal scorer in the Bundesliga this year, scored 16 goals, Jack. I think Bayern's
Shocking.
top goal scorer was like 12, and Bayern still go on to win the league. It makes a league that is actually decent. It makes it look bad, and it makes it feel what sort of value does it have that one team has now won 11 in a row. It devalues Jack. It devalues. No matter what anybody tells me right now. Yesterday, what happened is devalued the Bundesliga.
Yeah,
You
100%.
know, which
Um,
is
and again, James, it's becoming the place where you send your academy players on loan, right, to up their
mhm.
value. That's what we're seeing. I mean, geez, how many more examples do we need of English players going to Germany and either changing nationality or going there, having some nice little careers where they've been allowed to develop and do their thing, blah blah blah, right? And then they come back for these huge fees. That's all it is at the moment. Paris Saint-Germain as well, just underwhelming. I don't care. I don't care that they've won a league. I don't. It's a waste of the talents of Mbappe, of Neymar, of Messi. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. These are all guys playing for Paris Saint-Germain who, if they're not doing it in Europe, it's a waste of a career and a season for me. I'm not impressed. A league title at PSG is not impressive to me. If we start having the conversation, if Kylian Mbappe continues his rate, right, of how Kylian Mbappe compares to Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, maybe if he takes another step and continues, I'm going to look at any quote unquote success or domestic titles or numbers that he has playing for Paris Saint Germain. James, I'm going to laugh. If it's not Premier League or if it's not La Liga or if it's not maybe Serie A now, let's say,
What about the
I'm just going to
Bundesliga?
laugh. Bundesliga again. If similarly, if it's for Bayern, I'm just going to shrug. We've seen how bad they've played, and they've already won the league. It's 11 in a row. It's a bit of a joke, really. Again, I'm well aware that Juventus dominated for a decade. I know that, right? But last few years, it's been different winners across the board, and we know
Bear
how
in mind,
competitive
look at
Serie
the
A
three
is.
European competitions, Jack. All have one Italian team in it.
And we know how difficult it is to have any sort of success in the Premier League. It's impossible. The Premier League is the top of the top. I think I really do believe that we all know that. I know maybe the world's most elite players probably still play in Spain for those two big teams.
I
But I
I
know
don't think
across.
so.
Okay,
I don't. Jack, I had a little thing in my head, in my opinion now, that for me from 2010 all the way to probably 2018, I do believe that La Liga was the superior league. If I'm being truthfully honest, Jack. And it goes on the side of people may go the strength of the league overall. I don't agree with that when like you see teams like Atletico Bilbao and how good they are, Valencia at the time, Sevilla who won three Europa leagues in a row, Atletico Madrid who won like two Europa leagues and got the two they got the two Champions League finals, Villarreal. all these teams, and obviously, Jack, the two dominant teams, Barcelona and Real Madrid, how much they dominated Europe and made a mockery of English teams every time they were able to
Right.
come up
It's
against
true.
them. And also, you look at, I remember, Jack, the year that I think it was 2012 when I think it was all 11 players for the FIFA World Team of the Year were they were all from La Liga. To me, from that period of time, La Liga did have were the best league in the world, and also Jack, the best product. You know, like Falcao, all these amazing guys there. To me, they were that was the best league in the world. I do believe recently the Premier League is like taken over, and that's obviously due to the fact of how much the money is.
Oh, oh, oh. Somebody's missed a sitter.
Oh, Jackie missed it. Oh my days, he missed it. Everton, Onana
I'm
missing
so
absolute sitter to put Everton. Oh my days, that is a big opportunity. Yuri Mina wins a header and just a big scramble. And no, actually, what am I saying? Onana doesn't miss it. The ball just doesn't fall to him. Damari Gray has a great chance, but the ball it's more looping in the air. It's hard to get as much power in it. Everton just with another corner right now, and it is headed away, Jack. Does Everton have the ability to score here,
yeah,
Jack? Could you, Jack?
yeah, they do. I mean, again, I know it's insane. Away from home, they beat Brighton 5-1. So, like, it's
Jack,
there, but the
Jack,
consistency is not there.
I'm smelling a sucker punch, Jack. If I'm being truthfully honest with you, I'm smelling a sucker punch. I feel there's more of a chance of we seeing
Bournemouth go down the other end.
yeah, Bournemouth going down the other end and like scoring. But Jack, my big thing, let's just get back to Everton for a second,
Yeah,
Jack.
sure.
Um, do you not feel like, okay, let's just say if they do stay up today and like it's big, hey guys, we're happy we stay up, and it's gonna be a big pitch invaded and everything like that. But is that success for Everton, Jack? Because they went through that last season. They stayed up by the skin of their teeth and everything was cool and like they had a big parade. Are you now going through back-to-back years of celebrating just staying in the Premier League? Is that what it's come to for a team like this who has invested so much? Who we at a time they were when Jack, we're looking at the most prestigious teams, the most successful teams, and if we're ranking them, Everton would have, like, to me, would have been fifth at a time. Obviously, you look at what Manchester City done. Let me say six. My bad, I forgot. City, like overall, they probably would have been six. Is this the level that it's got to for Everton right now, where they're just happy staying up? Because Jack,
I
if
mean,
they do stay up, it's going to be scenes. But I'm like, you've celebrated 2 years of just staying up for a team like Everton.
but again, I think realistically, you have to go back to. Hang on a sec here. I think realistically, again, you have to go back to what's a team capable of doing, and how likely is the thing that they're trying to do to actually achieve and succeed at, right? And my example is this: if Everton are going to be capable of spending 10th to 12th ish in terms of expenditure on their team, in terms of transfer, wages, all that stuff, right? Then that's what they should be going for. We don't have Brighton's growing on trees, right? We don't have this kind of mass improvement going above and beyond what you should be achieving growing on trees. It's really difficult to sustain. The most extreme example is Spurs, James. Somehow Spurs made a Champions League final. I don't know how that happened if it wasn't from Pochettino and the hard work of the squad and blah, blah, blah. Because you and I could compare that Spurs squad and that Spurs manager with any of the other guys in the competition that year. And if you and I were doing a ranking and how we respected them, that's how far they'd be. Again, it's about, unfortunately, lowering expectations. And expectations just have to be lowered. If they go in, right, so Big Sam's at Leeds, right?
Yep.
Right.
And first of all, Leeds are 2-0 down against Tottenham. So right now it looks like, bar an absolute miracle, they're going down.
But you know, Sam Allardyce is just as good as Pep and Jurgen Klopp, though, James, don't you?
Jack, apparently he is. Well, Jack. He's a Premier League manager. He's managed
Dude,
about 15
that
Premier League
killed me.
teams.
I thought that was that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Well, Jack, in terms of view of relegation, and Jack, you're saying is can Pep? Do you think Pep would have been able to keep a Leeds team up, or certain teams that Allardyce has kept up? Do you think Pep would have been able to do that? Because you like more with less. Allardyce can do more with less, as you say.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. But James, he hasn't, right? And I think his career as a manager is probably over now, especially at the top
Jack,
level.
the Bolton team, I would say Blackburn, he was able to do well. West Ham, he got them back in, and kept them up for a few seasons. He's done Sunderland. I think he's done some decent jobs where he's kept teams up.
But let me give you this to finish the Everton thing, right? Sean Dyche at Everton. You and I both know there's a ceiling on Sean Dyche football, right?
Mhm.
You and I both know that. I think Sean Dyche could drop down to League Two and manage a team and get them up to the Premiership. I truly believe that. But that team is going to be a middling bottom half team that avoids relegation every single year. And that's your ceiling. That's what you've got. That's what your manager is. That's what your ceiling is. That's why I think it's fascinating and very, very interesting to watch how people approach taking that next step. So as a little bit of a segue, I'll do this as an example. You just asked me about James Maddison and Tielemans and these kind of names at Newcastle. James, if Newcastle are going to cement themselves as a top 4 team, which I
1-0
think
Everton, Jack. 1-0 Everton.
Yep, I've just heard Paul Merson scream.
Oh my days, Decore with the banger.
Decore, yeah.
It's oh my days.
And Bournemouth aren't going to care. So here we go. Right, I'm watching it. Into midfield. Is that Idrissa Gueye? Back post. Bang! Oh!
Jack, that's his Steven Gerrard moment. You beauty. Oh, you.
That is. Look at Sue
Wow.
Smith. Oh my god. Arsenal, Gabriel Jesus with 4. Bruno Fernandes has scored, taking United ahead of Fulham. Wow, that's a big moment.
That is huge, Jack. That is huge. Oh my days.
Leicester going down. Look at that. Minus 17 goal difference too. Man.
Wow. Wow, Jack. In the word and does a team like Bournemouth have the to me to just even come back? I don't think so. Oh, that's huge. That is huge, Jack.
I just don't know if they're going to care enough.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that, Jack. Why would you care? You're already up final day of the season. It means nothing I don't think that they can go low or high in this situation there.
Yeah.
Oh my days, Jack. What a goal, man.
I need
What
6
a
goals.
goal. Oh
I need
my
6
days.
teams to score as well to win my bet. I don't think it's happening. I need City and Brentford, Wolves, Bournemouth, Leeds, and then I'm missing one as well.
It took a deflection too.
West Ham as well. Man. Wow. So yeah, James.
Wow.
Being somewhat realistic, Newcastle need a midfielder.
Yeah.
Who do you go for at this point?
Wait, it depends. What type of midfielder are we talking about here? We're talking about.
You tell me. You tell me.
I'm
your head of recruitment, and let's say I'm saying the owner thinks you need a midfielder who helps you achieve what you think Newcastle should be trying to achieve. Who are the names that you go for? Because this is what I think we need to start talking about, which is insane. Because I look at somebody like James Maddison, and I think, is that even good enough?
Jack, at the end of the day, Jack, they're going to be playing Champions League football.
That's what I'm saying.
Let me actually just look into it.
No. Take your time. I just think this is the kind of thing I think is absolutely fascinating at this point. I think it needs to be going forward the caliber of a like Isak, of a Sven Botman, of a these kind of guys
Yeah,
who,
but Jack, I
hey,
don't.
it's
Yeah,
not
but
creme de la creme, but it's
yeah.
guys who all the other big teams are interested in. James, Alexander Isak was not being, looked at by Fiorentina and Union Berlin and Getafe, right? This Isak was on the radar of a lot of big teams. Sven Botman was on the radar for a lot of big teams, a lot.
Oh, for so West Ham just hit the post, so
Oh,
it could have been. So I'm just looking at a few links right now. Um, Kieran Tierney is a link. Obviously he's not a midfielder. Sorry, not
but
one
again,
really
if
just
you're
springs
James,
to mind.
and I hate to say this, I'm not trying to make fun of your team here. If you're Newcastle, you want a cast off from Arsenal, who you might finish ahead of next year.
Do you know what it is? I don't want to say a cast off with certain things because I'm like
Okay.
players. Just because players is not wanted from another team, that don't mean that Jack they can't be successful. To me, to me going into another team, Jack, we've seen that on so many occasions where a player doesn't cut it somewhere else and then goes to somewhere and becomes an absolute superstar. And you're thinking, wow, what? Think about it. What does that
That's
mean?
what I
We've
think.
seen
That's what I think.
Isles.
Chelsea is scared of with Mount. That's what I think they're terrified. Have you seen the Fabrizio Romano thing? Mount's got 1 year left on his deal. Chelsea want 80 with a year left on his deal. They want 80, and again, I think that all comes from a fear that Leicester 2-0.
Leicester 2-0.
Oof.
It still won't make a difference. They need to go. They badly need to go. So okay, I'm just gonna rib off a few names that I'm seeing right now. McAllister, that could be to me a decent option for them to
Yeah.
bring in. But if you're somebody like McAllister, maybe a Liverpool that you want to go to. But again, he does want to go and play Champions League football. Another player that it might not excite you, Jack, James Ward-Prowse. Now, does that take you to Champions League football? No. So, okay, maybe you're looking away from a player that is available on a free, Jack. Adrian Rabiot. I do
Okay.
think that would
I
be a
like
great
that one.
option for them. People
But
may
like
talk
James,
about his attitude, but he does have amazing
Marco
quality.
Verratti.
I don't think Verratti would want to go to. I know people look at the money like that, but Jack, a lot of teams got money nowadays. A lot of teams got like money, and just to me, just the way it is. Another midfielder I'm going to mention, Jack, Rafinha. That could be to me a big option there. That could possibly, because I think that's one thing that Newcastle are missing, this out and out killer winger on both sides, Jack. Because Joe Willock has done incredible there. Bruno Guimaraes is a guaranteed starter. Joe Linton has been like incredible in there. Possibly they'll be looking at a sitting or like more an attacking player. So James Maddison would be an Jack. But one that pops ahead that you would absolutely hate. You're going to dislike this one. But a Paulo Dybala.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I knew what Roma were getting into when we signed him. I knew, like James, he did not get the offer that he wanted, the level of offer that he wanted from the teams that he was interested in signing in. Roma were willing to give him a little bit more than everybody else, but have him sign these terms that meant that after a good year he could then move on. Right? I hope he's fallen in love with the club. Blah blah blah. But it's not lost on me that James, again, any Champions League team who needs a right kind of inside forward type or a second striker, whatever, right? I think you sign Paulo Dybala, no questions asked. He's going to want 250,000 euros a week or in and around that mark because he's that kind of player. But again, I think that's okay. I have no doubt that that's okay. I'm trying to be objective. If I'm Newcastle, absolutely you pull that trigger. You pull that trigger now. Pull that trigger as quickly as you possibly can. I just look at, like James, again, I'll throw this one out. Real Madrid signed Jude Bellingham. You've got Eduardo Camavinga, you've got Valverde, Modric for another year, Cruz for another year. David Alaba can play central midfield if you want as well. All these kind of guys, right? Does Chamonix get interested by a really, really lucrative offer from Newcastle United?
Jack, listen. I don't disagree with that. I feel like Chow Mini. it's more or less a patient thing. This guy did come in and was starting heavily, and I do believe that he'll kick on better next season. Jack, you don't start for France and play the sort of football that he played for France in like he's at Real Madrid. I don't think Real Madrid are going to want to let that go, knowing that Kroos and Modric have 1 year left in them. And Jack, once he goes, they're going to have to look for another one. So you want to obviously keep this sort of level football playing, especially a player that we believe is going to be a star. Another player that's playing here that I think could be an option for them is Onana, that sort of big destructive box to box guy there. I've been seeing links with Arsenal. So again, he's a player that everybody is going to be linked with. Another player, Jack, another one of Jack boys, Milinkovic-Savic, Jack.
Yeah, his agent's been talking a lot about moving on, and I think it's high time. But again, James, that he's a unicorn. He's a weird. He doesn't just slot into a traditional central midfield role for any team. If he comes in, you have to kind of change the way you play, or at least ask him to do something a little different. This is a big, dynamic, can kind of do everything type of. The way Manchester United had problems fitting Pogba into their team.
Yeah.
Milinkovic-Savic, it's the same thing. Now at Lazio, that's his team. It's kind of built around him and having him have success. Obviously, with Ciro Immobile doing as much as he can as well, in just terms of numbers, putting the ball in the goal. But if he goes to like a bigger team, like a Newcastle, there is going to be a little bit of a right, what the hell do we need to do here?
Sammy with his hot takes again. Jack, hit him.
Sammy, you don't know what you're watching. You're crazy. Why don't you stick to Real Madrid?
Savvy, listen, if Savvy's not a fan of you, he'll let you know.
But I'm just saying this too, though, James. Is it 2 years too late? Is it 2 or 3 years too late? Well, I would say,
Jack. I remember these links in 2018, 19. Jack, the fact that we've come this far and we haven't. And Jack, secondly,
Sammy saying he's always in the box. It's like, yeah, because he doesn't like get loads of goals and loads of assists. Like that's exactly who he is. Guy's like 6'2". Guy's a monster. Of course, he's always in the box. That's where he needs to be. But yeah, James, it's a few years too late for me. I don't love it. In terms of timing, and I also don't know if he's going to give the best of himself if he comes now as well. That would be my other thing.
Jack, also, do you not feel that if he was the guy that we claim him to be, that a team would have came in for him by now? A team would have put their foot down and say, we must have this guy. Because Jack, if a player is irresistible, like a Jude Bellingham to a certain point, teams can snap him up.
But Jay, I think the problem, though, with him in particular, is it's like he's kind of weird, right? He does have that kind of Pogba-esque quality, slightly more physical version of like a Paul Pogba. So it's kind of a strange player to have come in. Have we seen him do it internationally at a particularly top level? Well, no, because he plays for kind of a weird kind of Serbia team again, which, my thoughts on the Serbia team, should be killing it based on the talent, but for whatever reason, they never do, right? And then have we seen...
They underachieve, and I'm not going to lie here. He underachieves with them. I'm not going to...
Leeds, Jack Harrison.
Oh, Jack!
Fight in the Everton game?
Yeah. Oh, listen, yeah. There's a bit of a... Everyone's kind of going at it now.
James, I'm not going to lie to you. If Wolves, Brentford, Man City, and West Ham score, I need 4 teams to score in the next 20, 25 minutes. Jack's going to win some money here.
Wolves, Brentford.
And then Man City and Brentford, yeah. It's not looking good.
I don't think that one's going to come in, Jack.
Wolves aren't going to score, are they? Hopefully Arsenal get lazy.
Oh, no. I don't. Again... Wow. Oh, my days, Jack. Do you know the worst part about it?
Kane 3. Jesus Christ.
Well, Harry Kane scored?
Harry Kane scored again. That's 2.
Jack, do you know the craziest thing for me is that I've just seen right now that Liverpool have made it 4-3. I had at the time, Jack, I was going to put as an Aka 4-4 in the Southampton 4-4 in the Southampton Liverpool game when it was 2-4, and it's like,
You
oh my
should have.
days. Let me
Um,
see.
but yeah, like James, he's so again, in the league as well. You look at these incredible performances for Lazio, incredible performances, but in a team that caters for him to have the success that he wants. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
James, if you've got like a neat and tidy six who recycles the ball well, doesn't make mistakes, screens nicely, organizes play, can play through the lines, high, high amount of passes, high completion percentage, moves the ball well, forward, blah blah blah. You know what that player is when they come in, those players, I'm not saying they're grown on trees, but you know very well because historically we've seen it. You know who that guy is, right? In the same way, in a wing position, if you've got a guy who can run at somebody and then cut in and then either play a pass or shoot or put the ball in with their foot on the stronger side, Jesus, 4-4 as well now, man, Yotta.
Jack, literally, look, I was just about, oh my days, I called it.
Insane. But like, again, if you have that guy, you know what that guy is. I don't know how
No, it's
you
going to be
define
5-5.
what
It's going to be 5-5.
I don't know how you define what Sergei Milinkovic-Savic is in that respect. Because what do you say that he does? What are his tendencies? What are his this? And then how does that then coalesce with the team that you're signing him for?
Jack, I just seen this one thing from Saran, and Sammy says that I don't rate Kane. I do rate Kane. I think he's one of the best strikers of this generation. I don't like this notion that people use Harry Kane. Oh, he deserves better than Tottenham. Oh, it's Tottenham is bad. Harry Kane is good. No, to me, it goes hand in hand, Jack. If you're failing, yeah, if you're failing within a team, it's not they are failing, it's we are failing. Yeah, and it's a thing where okay, Spurs have been in so many positions to be successful, and Harry Kane hasn't come up the way he has in certain other games, Jack. Yeah, when in the Jack in so many semi-finals, so many finals, so many big moments, I haven't seen Kane do what he's done in I don't know in like less meaningful games. That's my only thing about Harry Kane. As I said, is he a great striker? Yes. Would I want Harry Kane in my team? Hands down. This guy's a certified killer. Put him inside the box. I don't think anybody can do what he does. You know, with his back away from goal, first time finishes, and
But
obviously
James,
outside the box he can create crazy.
Kane is your Mo Salah for me,
I
right?
don't, but
And
Jack,
no, no, but
I respect everything Harry
yeah,
Kane
but
does.
James,
I just think that
what? And I don't respect everything that Mo Salah does, and I don't think Mo Salah's a really, really top quality player.
another my only thing with you and like the Mo Salah thing, it's like for everything is done, like it's almost like you were like, where was that when he was playing for Roma? But in my head, I'm like, you don't give him you
No,
like you
but
look
he
at.
did really well for Roma. He was really good for Roma. He wasn't Liverpool good for Roma, but he
Mhm.
wasn't. But he's not been Liverpool good for anybody but Liverpool, really. Like, but again, the reason why I'm saying that's my Mo Salah, it's your Harry Kane, is you don't think Kane's a bum and isn't an all-time in the conversation great in this generation top level striker who's amazing and what maybe beat Alan Shearer's record and is just an insanely talented, great player. In the same way that I think the exact same thing with Mo Salah. Like, I don't think Salah's a bum and shouldn't be starting for Liverpool and is just bad at his job and blah blah blah. Just because you don't have the same opinion that everyone else has, just because you're a little less than the consensus, everyone thinks that you don't rate him at all. That's not true. That's not the case. He's trying to just give a slightly nuanced opinion as to your evaluation of a player. It's the exact same thing. Just because you don't think, just because like what did I always talk about with the Messi Ronaldo thing? Right. I'm now totally happy. Messi World Cup cemented greatest of all time. I don't think we can argue that anymore. But when I had Ronaldo ahead of Messi, I don't have Messi like fourth. I've got Messi second, and he's like here beneath him. I think people need to understand that a little bit before you start thinking like, oh, you hate him, you don't rate him as a player. It's like, no, it's just I'm just a little off of everybody else.
Sammy also makes his little funny comment the way how Modric and did one for Spurs. But Jack, Sammy, my biggest thing with that is that granted, them guys didn't win, but the sample size wasn't that big. Sammy Modric, let's be honest, he signed in 2008 and left in what 2012. So Jackie spent like 4 or 5 seasons with them. Harry Kane has been with Tottenham for over like 10 years. I'm looking at peak Harry Kane. So Harry Kane started this peak at 2015. We're now coming into 2020, Jack. We're now in 2023. Bale was at his peak for Tottenham for like 2-3 seasons, to me, and that's the difference. Secondly, they weren't in the positions that Harry Kane have been in. They weren't in the positions where they're in the semi-finals, Jack. They're in League Cup finals. They're in FA Cup semi-finals. They're challenging for a Premier League. As much as I never believed Tottenham challenged for a Premier League properly, and also a Champions League final. They weren't in them positions. Harry Kane was in these positions, and a lot of times, Jack, I seen him, not do as well. Like, people look at that Tottenham Champions League run, people forget the fact that Harry Kane missed the majority of the quarterfinal against Manchester City. He missed the whole of the semi-final against Ajax, and Tottenham still went through. People don't bring that up. Just gonna say, oh, Harry Kane led them. No, he didn't lead them.
Well, and James, at the very top, when you're at the very, very top, it gets nitpicky, right? You do have to start splitting hairs when you're comparing people at the very top, because the difference in winning and losing, or the difference in your impact on a game, is fine margins. That is the kind of the whole point of top level sport, right? So yeah, of course we're going to be super critical when we're giving people plaudits, and we're using the language which we've talked about Kane with, and we've talked about Salah with. Yeah, of course we're gonna like pump the brakes a little bit. We've done it this year with Erling Haaland as well. You and I don't hate Erling Haaland and think he's a bum and isn't a top player. We think he's amazing. He might well be the best player in the world right now, right? But
Jack,
you have to just add that little bit of an asterisk and be like, hey, listen, while all this stuff that everybody's saying is true, let's consider this, let's consider that. Come on, we need to start having these conversations.
Jack, secondly, Jack, as much as you say criticize Harry Kane, Jack, Harry Kane's going to score 31 Premier League goals this season. That's that. He has a better tally than Jack Thierry Henry's. I think best year in the Premier League was 30. This guy's gonna get 31. This is his best tally in the Premier League, and obviously he's gonna lose out to Erling Haaland. I think Erling Haaland's gonna beat him by 5, but this guy's hit 31 and possibly could get 32. Jack, incredible. Usually that sort of numbers wins you, Jack, the Golden Boot, but because he has Erling Haaland in front of him. Also, Jack, the difference between him and Erling Haaland in goals this year, he's only been 5. For all that crazy stuff, Kane has had a stupid season.
And he scored in more matches. That's the thing. He's scored in more individual matches, which to me is a more valuable thing than what Erling Haaland's done. I'm still picking Haaland as having a better season. Of course I am. But Jesus Christ, James, 5 for Arsenal. Woof.
Yeah. Again, that's Arsenal at their absolute best. No pressure. Could you imagine, Jack, if this game was to win the title today? We'll be scratching our bum because goodness gracious me. It'll be 0-0 with like 5 minutes to go.
Daniel Podent's hat trick. Let me do this then, James. I love doing this. What should Harry Kane do? And what will he do this summer?
What should Harry Kane do?
Yeah, West Ham have scored. Oh my God, James! I think I need 3 teams to score.
Is Wolves, and then obviously
Wolves, and then I need Brentford and Man City, which I don't see happening.
It's close.
Damn! If I get 3 goals in the next 10, 15 minutes, we're having a nice end to the day.
What's the returns? Also, Jack, we should not be promoting gambling or not.
Oh, we're not promoting it. We're just saying we do it legally, and we're of age in the country in which we are in. So yeah, people, you got to follow the rules. You got to follow the law. But yeah, 450 quid, I think, comes my way. If that comes in, that'd be nice.
Wow.
I need Bournemouth to score 2. So actually, I need 4 teams, not 3. Oh my God. James, what would you do, or what would you suggest Harry Kane would do, and then what do you think he'll do?
Obviously, if you're Harry Kane, you want to go to a team like Manchester United, Jack.
Would that be it, or would you try Real Madrid? Would you try PSG? Would you try Chelsea?
Pochettino? If I'm being truthfully honest, with Kane. I think Real Madrid probably would have been an incredible option for him to go to, but I don't know how it's gonna work with when like you have two Asian strikers like Kane and Benzema who kind of play similar ways, Jack. You know, this is not like he's 25 going to Real Madrid. You know, Benzema has like a year left in him. This guy also is a similar. I know Benzema's 5 years older, but 30, 35. You know, um, and also that Premier League record, Jack. It matters to him. He wants to break it. He will break it. So I think a team like Manchester United with Eric Ten Hag, with how important he would be of a signing, Jack. He's not like when, for instance, let's say he joins Manchester City, like okay, he's joining Manchester City, he's almost guaranteed a league title. You're not guaranteed a league title at Manchester United,
No.
but you know the impact you can make winning a league title for Manchester United, Jack. You know, Jack, you win a Manchester, you win one for Manchester United. The narrative changes completely because it will feel more than likely that he was the spearhead to that league title, like Robin van
It's the
Persie.
Robin van Persie effect, isn't it? Yeah, you're
Mhm.
absolutely right. You're absolutely
Where
right.
you know a team like that needed him, and he goes there and he delivers. It changes the narrative so much, Jack, on Harry Kane. You know, again,
Well,
do I do go on, Jack?
it's tricky, isn't it? I think you're right. I think you are right. I think United is the best thing to go for. You'd need assurances if you were to go to Real Madrid that you'd start every week because Kane is not going to be the type who wants to be on the bench. And also, James, you might disagree with me here. I don't think Kane is a natural. Oh, this is crazy, James. I'm about to say something crazy. I don't think Kane is a natural striker from a standpoint that you just throw him on any old time and he does the business. I think Kane needs reps. I think Kane needs
100%.
to play and play and practice and practice and practice. It's the 10,000 hours thing, isn't it, with Kane? I think he's done it so often, so consistently. He trains well, he blah blah blah, he does all this kind of stuff. There are some guys who just have freak talent and
Yeah,
can just
go for Brentford.
hop on the goal for Brentford.
Yeah,
James, I need that. I need that Wolves and that Bournemouth goal because I guarantee you City score now. But
oh
yeah,
my.
like I mean, would you agree with me there, or do you think I'm going a little too strong? I think Kane needs reps. He needs consistent fixtures to be playing his best football.
Oh, Jack, 100%. I think Harry Kane has gone to the point where he can't come in for. Can't remember the last time he's been a bit part player or even played off the bench, Jack. It's been probably
Right.
2000 in like three for him, and he's been a part of two systems, Jack, under England and Spurs that's been built for him. You know, that have been built for him. So I think he needs to go into a place where things go through him. It's rather he's dropping deep and people are playing in and like think about it, people are playing in and around him, or he's getting the ball to feet. So him going into a place where he isn't really the man as much, I feel like he would struggle. I think he'll get more of a chance to be the man out of Manchester United than a Real Madrid-ish.
And also, like, let's say they sign Wout Weghorst permanently. Is he any threat to Harry Kane as a striker? I don't think so. Is Martial a threat to Harry Kane? Absolutely not. So I think it's the thing that for me makes perfect sense. I'm with you. I think that's the best thing. The question though, James, and you know what this is going to be about because we're dealing with Daniel Levy and we're dealing with Spurs, and we're not just dealing with Gareth Bale or Luka Modric or who else or Berbatov I'm trying to think of other players who Manchester United have been interested in from Spurs. Ericsson maybe at one point, I don't know.
Michael Carrick.
Like Michael Carrick, right? Good, thank you. Good example. Like, what is this going to come down to? It's going to come down to the money.
Do you think
It's going to come
Manchester
down to the
United
money.
pays the 100,
Now,
Jack?
let me check when his contract expires, and then I guess you and I can have a conversation about what you think would be overpaying, what would be a good deal, and what's about right.
Jack, it ends next season.
Summer
So
of
we got
2024.
yeah. So by January, he should be able to be start speaking to teams about a potential.
James,
Jack,
I think
if I was Harry Kane, I would do that. I would speak to Tottenham and say, if you want me to do another year, I'll do another year. Not worry about having this big fee go for him. Because Jack, Manchester United, I get it. Harry Kane is going to change goals for you, but 100 million,
It's too
Jack.
much.
Guy with a fun. This is you're not signing a 25-year-old, 30-year-old guy. We're talking three figures here. At least Jack Grealish, like he's guaranteed to be at City for a long, long, long period. And Kane
Right.
could still do it for another 3-4 years, Jack.
Well,
But
and James, Man United might be set up to do really, really nicely in the 24-25 season. Do you not think? If you look at
yeah,
the age of some of their players, right, and when some of them might peak and this kind of thing, that might be their year to come and do it. And if Kane can just come straight in, but how impatient will Manchester United be? And will they sign a Dusan Vlahovic, a Victor Osimhen? Will they go for somebody like that? Will they be able to pull away like an Isak? Or, is there something that Manchester United will do in the meantime, which will mean that then the Kane bid is just off the table completely?
but I think maybe Kane will also look at it from this point of view, Jack. He doesn't want another situation where he misses out. Because
Right.
let's say Manchester United don't get him this season, they could look at Osimhen and be like, okay, we add a little bit more, maybe another 25 more million, we can get Victor Osimhen. And now Kane's turning around and thinking, where do I have to go? Because City's now off the tables.
Yeah.
United could be off the tables if, let's say, a certain player comes in. But I think if you're Manchester United, based on Jack, you look at their goal difference this year, and you look at the fact that Weghorst and Martial are the two strikers that they have. I think it's not just a need. I think it's more of they're desperate for Harry Kane, Jack. They're desperate
Right.
for that killer. You look at Manchester United's history overall, they've always had that killer striker. Your Ruben Nistelrooys, your Andy Coles, your Dwight Yorks, your Jack, your Eric Cantonas, your Wayne Rooney's, your Robin van Persies. They've always had that killer up top, and Harry Kane will follow a long lineage of top quality strikers there. So I feel that this
And
season
with
feels
with,
more
with
likely.
with
Go on,
Phil
Jack.
Jones off the wage bill as well, there's plenty of room for him.
Phil Jones, man said Phil Jones.
What a
I
joke.
don't think I don't think the wage bill is that important for a team with the sort of
No.
money
And
Manchester
James,
United have.
and I think the other thing to think about as well is, well, if the Qataris buy Manchester United, then there's no questions asked. It happens. I'm thinking more along the lines of, is it still going to be the Glazers? Is it going to be Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe? Right, that's when the fee part of it starts to become kind of interesting and comes kind of thing. Okay, that's what we think he should do, and I think we're in agreement there. What's your prediction? Gun to your head. What's your prediction that happens with Harry Kane?
I feel like he leaves this summer. I think Man United will pay the fee, knowing how
Man,
desperate they are to bring in that striker. I think it might be more beneficial for Harry Kane to probably wait out a year because knowing the amount of money he can get, but maybe it's just somebody like Kane, he knows regardless
but
of the extra bonus of that signing on fee, he's still going to get a lot of money if he just joins this season too.
my thing though, James, that I think is fascinating. We talk about Daniel Levy as a great negotiator, great businessman, blah blah blah. Like never get screwed over on a deal. If he lets Harry Kane go for free and he doesn't win an FA Cup, he doesn't win an EFL Cup, he
Well, he
probably
isn't
doesn't
going.
make top four next year. James, there's a deal to be had there, and you can be as hard a negotiator as you want. If you let Harry Kane leave for free and you're still trophyless, you're going to come across like an idiot, like a clown.
100%. Sorry, guys. It's just coming to the end of these games right now, and one
Yeah,
goal can really rock the Premier League in so many different ways. Alex Iwobi, first of all, has been phenomenal today. The way he's been able to keep hold of the ball, guys. You know, really, really good from
I
him.
don't think I'm getting my Wolves or Man City goal, unfortunately.
Nah, Arsenal's gonna feel like an easy money 5-0. I think we to be fair, we beat Everton 5-0 last season too, Jack. I don't know. It just seems to be a thing now. Arsenal
When
end of the
when the
season,
pressure's
5-0
off.
win. No pressure, FC.
Also, guys, Jeff Stelling. I know I've brought it up already, but Jeff Stelling, it's his last since 1994. That's insane. This is kind of a monumental TV moment in the world of sport for sure. So what is it? Bournemouth, Wolves, Man City are the ones I need goals from. We need a big 5 minutes here, people. Damn, Leicester. Oh, Everton have some defending to do.
Guys, if they concede, surely they won't concede.
10 minutes of added time in the Everton.
No way.
10 minutes of added time in the Everton Bournemouth game.
Feels like it's back to World Cup days.
Jesus, guys, stay tuned. Me and James will be here for the next 15.
15 guaranteed, guys.
Man,
wow.
That's crazy.
Wow, guys.
I've just seen. James, have you seen? Yeah, there it is. It's finally popped up because it just popped up on my thing here. Sammy, can't look at money when you have a striker like Martial. Go get Kane. Yeah, James, what do we? How would you, if you had to tell an alien what Anthony Martial's Manchester United career has been like, what would you explain to somebody who's never heard of him before?
I think his football career, forget about his Manchester United career, his football career, I think his Jack has been so underwhelming. I'll never forget the moment where he scored his debut goal against Liverpool, ripping, I think it was Lovren at the time and slotting it into the goal. What a moment that was. And you're thinking, what is he going to be? And especially that season, Jack, he had some electric moments. And the fact that it's come to this where he's had an underwhelming time when he went to, I think it was Sevilla, and his French career hasn't never really taken off. I don't think he was even a part of the 2010 team that went. I don't think he's been a part of any of the teams that have been in the Euros or anything like that. Forget about underwhelming. I think it's been.
I don't think he has over 100 professional goals.
You're lying.
No, I'm not kidding. So look, Lyon B team is 5, Lyon is 0, Monaco B team is 3.
Yeah, we're not counting the B teams.
Monaco. What I mean, like if we let's say even if we do include it, Monaco B team 3, Monaco first team 11 in 49, so it's 1 in 5. I mean, he was kind of a left winger, I guess, but still, It's not a great return. Manchester United 62 and 195, so that's worse than a goal in every 3. Sevilla, all this time there, 0 goals, and for the French national team, he scored 2.
Well, I think there's a guy who I think we can see the fun thing that points out he's not a natural goal scorer. Jack, is he a good football player? Can he do some absolutely incredible things that can take your breath away? Yeah, but Jack, as you can see, just not consistent enough. And I feel like you have to get to a certain point where like you have to point your finger and say this guy isn't out there. I'm saying good enough to. Can he play for Manchester United? Yeah, but can he lead Manchester United? No, he isn't going to take United to that.
Not as a number 9, no.
To me, he's not going to take United to that next level. And just think his overall like contribution to the team, is it there as much? No.
If you're James, if you're Newcastle, what do you think? Anthony Martial, or is he not good enough?
Jack, I think Martial might go through a bit of a downward spiral now, if I'm being true. Jack, bear in mind, I don't think people understand how much of a fan I am of Anthony Martial. And first of all, I get a lot of comparisons to when I was younger. Bit of a joke, but yeah, I don't.
Oh my god! Oh, Pickford with a crazy save.
Oh my days, Jack. What is going on here?
Oh my god, Sue Smith, can't believe it. She's so stressed, bless her.
This is only football can make it. Jack, I honestly, if you want to see a stadium collapse, if Bournemouth score I think this stadium might fall down. I this is, to be fair, it was a tame sort of save, nothing special, you know. But I also, I don't understand this, is like this approach. I get it that like you're losing, but would you not still play the game that you were paying for the whole of 90 minutes? Now teams are just going to sit back now and let them come on to them. And Jack, you know what that can lead to?
Yep.
You know,
Big moments. Oh man. James, what do Arsenal need to get the job done next year?
um,
And I want names too.
I've often said, Jack, I know it's unlikely, but I would love to sign Neymar. I would love to sign that guy that, can just do something out of nothing. Sometimes you always need a sort of player like that there. People may talk about his attitude, but I would love to see a player like that come in. So like a winger of a Zaha, a Neymar, somebody can come in that can shake it up on both sides. I'm talking about the left and the right. I want to see another attacking midfielder come in, a striker, maybe one or two midfielders.
Who about the strikers? What names come to mind for you in the striker department?
Mitrovic,
Oh,
um,
nice. I like that.
Blazovic, that
Yeah.
plays for Juventus, but I don't know about going in for a guy who we wanted at the time but decided not to come. That does annoy
I
me there.
agree with you. I agree with you. And also, James, it's going to be an interesting off season for Juve.
No Champions League football is
Ja-
massive,
no,
massive for them.
like huge, but also, I think we know Di Maria is going to be let go, right? Vlahovic
Yeah,
is also going to go, and James Max Allegri is probably going to be sacked as well. So again, Max Allegri is the reason why we haven't seen that much brilliant stuff out of Di Maria. It's the reason why we haven't seen much brilliant stuff out of Dusan Vlahovic. And again, people can say whatever they want, but yeah, the guy who manages your team is kind of important. Like, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of important.
uh, uh, yeah. I think people should underestimate how important it is to have a good coach. There he sets the tone. He makes sure a team thick like it's like ticking overall and like goes forward and like goes backward. Coaches are huge. And to be fair, Jack, do you not feel like Max Allegri's time there? Think it's been a bit unfair on him, Jack? Because Jack, at the end of the day, granted, I get it with the Champions League stuff, but without the points deduction, I think they're on course to finish second in the league.
I
You
mean,
know,
yeah, but it's just the football that's being played. It's just the football that's being played. That's the problem. Results, yeah, fine, but there's a certain level. Wow, Leeds relegated.
not really a surprise there. Not really a
No.
surprise.
Um, but yeah, like it's just the football. It's the fans. It's James. This, I mean, as much as Inter and Milan and maybe even throw Roma in there. Why not? And Atalanta of late as well. You want to start being competitive in Italy again and again. I think, including the Premier League, I really do believe the Italian league is right up there in terms of competitive week to week football. Napoli, of course, I can't believe I missed them out. Juve really still are the premier team there, James. They are.
I got
Not
Jack.
necessarily historically, but in the modern era, they really are. And they have not been playing or performing as such. And that's the problem. That is the problem. Again, I'm not saying that you need to have beautiful football, but you either need to be winning the league or with whatever football you want to play, or you need to be impressing people. And that's just not been the case. Man, James, there are a lot of players in that Leicester team who will not be there next year.
100%, Jack. I want to see what's going to happen with a player like Jamie Vardy, for instance, right now. Listen, big up to Everton, Jack, because I think the pressure for those players to perform in that second half was massive. In the fact that they've been able to come up trumps like that, get that goal, and just looks like they're going to get themselves over the line. Big, 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 big for that team now. Long term, is it good? No, but stay up. You stay up. Leicester City, Jack. How disappointing is it from Leicester City, Jack? You go from Premier League champions, what, 5 seasons ago, six or 7 seasons ago. Now they're leaving the Premier League, Jack. A team that won the Premier League, one of I think the 8 teams has been able to win the Premier League. Jack, they did it. Now they're going down. Will they be a Blackburn?
Maybe you can't rule it out. I mean, again, it's just again, I go back to this all the time. It's front office. It's the front office.
Hey, Jack, we're just waiting for the confirmation now. It looks like Everton's going to stay up, bar an absolute miracle. Wow, Leicester City are going down. The title was Leicester City are safe. Everton going down at the moment, but it's the opposite way around. They're going to survive.
Yeah, James, front office,
Everton.
just shocking. You know, I look at, you know, remember how exciting Patson Daka was for a time, right? They didn't full
Yes.
time, man.
Wow. Jack, it's huge. It's huge. Just Premier League status is huge for
But
them.
it's like low key is kind of embarrassing though.
It is embarrassing. Let me not lie to you. I don't want to see a freaking pitch invasion and
It's
all that
not
sort of stuff there.
Bournemouth.
You know.
It's, you know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
it's a
not
pitch
like,
invasion.
and again, I'm not trying to be
Oh,
rude to Bournemouth or whatever, but like this is Everton Football Club, and
this is Everton
you're
Football Club.
celebrating
You're
harder
having a
than if
pitch
you'd won the
invasion.
league.
Trust me, you're having a pitch invasion after staying up by 2 points for the second year in a row. To me, it's embarrassing. Yes, I get it, the emotion of football, but for a team of this standard, maybe like we shouldn't look at them in that standard. Maybe we should look at them as a relegation team. You know.
I don't know, dude. I don't look. You can see, and I respect some of the players too. Like you saw Pickford, you can see Pickford there. You know, Pickford just wants to get off the pitch because again, there's it's kind of like, again, I hate to say this because you're going to think I'm being some kind of way, but like James, Roma winning the Conference League, Roma are better than that. It was a big result,
Actually,
and
no,
we were in the
trophy is a trophy.
competition. And I know it's a European trophy, but James, Roma should be trying to win Europa Leagues, which we are this year, and we should be a Champions League competing team and competing for Serie A. I don't want to be in a league where we finished 7th or 8th in our domestic league, and then we're playing teams I've never even heard of to beat an underfunded final team in a final using what house tactics to get the result. I just that you have to have certain standards, and those have to come in at a certain point. And again, Everton, good for you guys, whatever. But I mean, look at the state of your club. Look at what is happening right now. You finished, what was it, 17th? They finished.
Yes, got to change the title.
I don't know, man. Because, James, there's talented guys in there. That's what I think is crazy.
Wow. Oh.
And, James, yeah, Leicester, front office. The Patson Daka era didn't start at any point. You didn't tie down Yuri Tielemans. You didn't necessarily give James Maddison the support that he needed to go and flourish. The defense was all over the place. And, James, they got good money from selling players.
Liverpool game finished 4-0. Sammy, that's one thing I was going to say. Go
on. No, but the defense as well. You got good money for some players like Harry Maguire, N'Golo Conte. I'm trying to think that they sold a bunch of guys. Like, I don't know. Danny Drinkwater went to Chelsea for 40 million. What did they do with that? Like
Riyad Mahrez, all this. But
Mahrez, of course.
Jack, also, you must look at it like this team, to me, underperformed in so many ways. Jack, just give me 2 seconds. Let me call you. Let me just.
Yeah.
I will be back.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah, I don't know. Man, there's a lot of those Leicester players won't be there. Yikes.
Jack, my brother's at the Chelsea game, and like he has the match ball. Somebody kicked the match ball at him, and he has the match ball of the game. It was kept.
That's insane.
He has the match ball. If he doesn't bring that home right now, we're going to have a scrap.
Try and get him to. He needs somebody to sign it. Try and get him to get out by the thing and get somebody to sign it.
Abraham, if you can get someone to sign it, do that. But just make sure you keep holding that ball.
Yeah, put it under his jacket or something.
He said he wants Frank Lampard to sign it.
Yeah, dude, for real. That's insane. Maybe his last game ever managing the club too.
Abraham, please do not lose that ball. And but if they ask you to give, right,
That's insane. Yeah, it's just for both teams. I think it's disappointing. Like, if you look at I don't know, and I'm not trying to be rude, but if you look at like a team like Bournemouth and they go down, you look at some of the names and the reputations and stuff. I think there's a certain level of like, oh, well, of course they go down. It's kind of championship quality players. James, some of the names that we're talking about and the managers and this kind of stuff, like Everton stayed up by the skin of their teeth, but look at the players in that squad. That is not good, right? That is not good. And Leicester, it's the same thing. There are some guys in there where you go like, some of these players could be playing for top teams. How have they not been performing better? You've got to just say it's management, I think, at the end of the day.
oh, 100, Jack, to me, 100%. But much as management, Jack, you got to look at it from this point of view too. Players drop levels big time. Let's be true, Jack. You remember? Look at the way we're talking about Yuri Tielemans at the time. Look at the way that we were talking about the Nigerian midfielder. My guy, what's his name?
Iwobi.
No, not Iwobi. Plays for Leicester.
Oh, Ndidi, Wilfred Ndidi.
Like Ndidi, players dropping levels. James Maddison is a good.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about Leicester. Sorry, I'm all over the place.
I'm
sorry.
talking about Leicester overall. Like Jack, the squad that they have, players have dropped their levels, and Jack, that's to me the biggest thing. I get it, managers, but surely you don't have to motivate yourself to get out on the football field all the time, Jack.
You do, but I think the
Jack,
whole point is
be this bad to get relegated. Because Jack, there's motivating yourself to be in top 4 and win titles. Jack, I get that. The stranglehold in the mentality to keep it going and keep that standard of staying high is difficult. But you drop that level so low that you're in the third, that like you go in you're in the top bottom 3 of the worst teams in the Premier League. That's like, surely managers can't do that, Jack. Surely managers can't bring that sort of stuff.
And I agree with you. I think there's a certain level of personal responsibility that has to come into it. You're a professional. You need to hold like a certain level of you need to hold a certain level just for yourself, just for your own level of pride. But I think the good managers don't let players even have the option of dropping that level because James, they're either out the team, they're sold, contracts not extended, right? They're frozen out, whatever you want to call it, sent to train with the reserves, whatever. There's different ways of being able to set the tone, basically. And I just wonder if maybe it's been consistently that's not been the case at a place like Everton. James, again, Mauricio Pochettino, he's taken a huge risk at Chelsea. There is a huge, it's kind of developing a little bit into a cultural thing at Chelsea now. It's all or nothing. They either win the league and do something in Europe, or they finish 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. It's insane. There's no middle ground for Chelsea anymore.
Well, let's see. First of all, like, also, guys, if you have anything that you want me and Jack to do video wise in the future, please let us know. Comment down below and let us know there. But you mentioned that with Chelsea, Jack. My only thing is that we looked at Manchester United last season, and we said, where is this going to come from?
Right.
Somebody coming in, settling down, giving these players belief and confidence again, and Jack, you'll see a difference. My thing is this: is that I mentioned the fact about managers motivating you, but at the highest level, that does make a difference. I'm talking about competing to get Champions League, talking about competing to get a league title. These are elite level players here. If somebody like Mauricio Pochettino can come in, I'm pretty sure he can motivate these players to do something big. Now, when the title might be a bit over the top, but these players are good enough, Jack. As you can see before, there's a lot of Champions League winners there. There's a lot of people who won FA Cups, even Premier Leagues, to a certain point there. So there is like a level of player in there. It just takes a manager to come in and set these guys the right mentality, Jack. We've seen that. I've often said, Jack, people look at it. When the team's down here, a team is never too far to go to the top again. Because
no, it's true.
Jack, like at the start of every season, people go, well, oh, Arsenal got a differential of like 40 points to Manchester City last year. No, at the start of the season, Arsenal and Manchester City both started on a 0-0. So it was a level playing field. Every year it becomes a level playing field again. Every year is a new season. And I do believe this whole Chelsea team, can develop and show everybody the level that they're at. Because what happened last season, what happened this season has happened. What happens next
Well,
season,
James,
we don't know, and we wait and see.
how many of those players have been scouted and have the best teams in the world been interested in before Chelsea snapped them up? Look at Mudryk. You have personal experience with that one because obviously Arsenal came close at one point. Badiashile was one. Enzo Fernandez was really, really, people were super interested in him. Yeah, James, like the squad and the talent is there. It's just pushing it in the right direction. And again, Pochettino's taken a huge risk. I don't think anybody's going to say anything different. James, I got to wonder what happens to Mauricio Pochettino if this doesn't go well with Chelsea. Because James,
we're gonna have to have a chat, Jack.
We are,
because
Spurs are going to have a new manager. And again, is he then demoted back down to Southampton level? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's a job he had. Espanyol, Southampton level football. Does he then become Thomas Frank again? Does he become Roberto De Zerbi again? Is he out of that upper echelon of managers and brought back down to earth with, hey, man, listen, you had some success. You then earned an opportunity and had a lot of success, even though you didn't win anything. You achieved above what was expected of you. You then had a job which you were kind of lucky to get, but you got there on merit, but it didn't go very well. And now you've gone to another job that you've gotten on merit, but it's not gone very well. And again, it's that ladder. You go up the ladder and maybe he has to come back down the ladder a few rungs again.
100%, Jack. But I look at this like, would it show a bit that if he can't cut it at this level with this sort of player there, does it make it real? Do we not realize that maybe he isn't at the level to work with the highest level players? Yeah, he can build a bunch of players, but I'm talking about, Jack, to me, as you mentioned the fact how you want to see managers do more with less. Pochettino can do that, but can you do more with more? And I'm not sure.
And that's where titles are won. That's where titles are won. That's where titles are won. Ask Pep Guardiola. That's how domestic titles are won. You have to do more with more. You have to be the best of all the teams you're competing with. That's what it is.
And to me, is that we've seen Jack what he was able to do. Jack with the Tottenham team. Jack, let's be truthfully honest, Jack. Before he came in, Tottenham weren't finishing crazy high. To be fair, they had a fourth and a fifth with Harry Redknapp, but they went through a year with Team Sherwood where it was really, really, really bad. He comes into a team who don't really know much, don't really know an identity. He was able to fix them, a kind of a broken club at that time. He did it with Southampton, with Sadio Mane, and like how great there was. Chelsea, our broken club, but the expectations of Chelsea, Jack, is through the roof.
Different.
Jack, listen, you talk about a team being spoiled. Five Premier League titles, 2 Champions Leagues, UEFA Cup, all this sort of stuff there. They have done that. They're used to winning. Yeah, I don't think Chelsea have been through more than 2 seasons, not 1 season without winning a trophy. So next season they got to win something there. So these sort of things are going to be answered. Can he rise to the occasion? I don't know.
And again, James, like we've spoken about, where did Chelsea fit into this conversation? Because again, the phrase "they're a Champions League level team" gets thrown around a lot. But how many teams can we actually put that label on? There are only 4 spots available. Because it's Man City are a lock in there. Yeah. Manchester United, if they get Kane, you'd have to assume are there with the season that they've had. FA Cup final, Carabao Cup winners, third, right, in their level. Newcastle United.
Jack. No. Say it, Jack.
No, but James, Newcastle United.
Who's a lock? You know that team that should be a lock now.
James, I don't know that. Newcastle United are coming. We know the investment level there. Are Liverpool going to be back? Is Darwin Núñez going to figure it out with Jurgen Klopp? And James, we had a team who was top for 32?
No, 253 weeks, Jack.
No, game weeks. But how many matches? Was it 32 matches?
Yeah. No.
34?
Days? No, Jack. We were top for 253 days.
No, matches.
Matches. Oh, like 30, like 29, 34, something like it.
over 3/4 of the season. Are they a top 4 team too? Because again, we have to see how these things start to play out. Because again, where do Chelsea fit in? How many teams did I just say? 5?
Yeah, Jack. Also, you were 2 goals away from getting your Aka coming in, man.
Yeah,
You
I
were
know. I know.
City and
Wolves.
Bournemouth away.
Oh, and
Oh,
Wolves too. Wolves. I was
Wolves.
3.
Then three,
Yeah, I
three.
was
My bad.
15 of 18. I would have been nice, but like James, again, this is the thing. It's very easy for people like you and me to say, "Well, they're a this level team." It's like, well, that's only available for 4 teams, and I'm telling you
But
now
like
for a fact that
historically they have been. Historically they have been that sort of level of team. You know, in the last.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
think,
they have. But let me tell you, if I give that to the 2 Manchester clubs, if I give that to Arsenal and I give that to Newcastle, is that if I then don't give it to Spurs, Liverpool, or Chelsea, do you not think those teams, their fan bases, their owners are going to be offended that you don't give them that title? And then which team out of the ones that I just said are you going to remove to put them in? That's what I'm saying. James, I keep saying this because I really mean this. We're at a point, stick and twist. There are a few teams who are going to have to make a decision and go, oof, are we going to really put the money up to try and compete for that top 4 spot, even though we might not get that return on our investment that we need? Or are you going to have teams that go, right, let's tighten the purse strings a bit and let's focus on a good setup, a good system, a style of football, and a good manager, good recruitment, and try and improve that way.
my brother got the match ball. Whew. Um, but Jack, my thing is this: you going into next season. You mentioned locks, Jack. There's so many teams going out for it. I think again, if Harry Kane does go, do we take Tottenham out of that race? But
Yes, we
there's
have
only
to.
there's only one team that to me is a lock. The rest of it to me is a bit of a lottery. City, I
Okay.
mean, Arsenal, Man United, Newcastle to a certain point, Chelsea and Liverpool. They're battling out to see who can get the rest of the spots there. We almost guarantee. I think it'll be a shock if Manchester City don't, you know, to me don't win. To me, don't get into the top 4. They're like the one team you can guarantee. The rest of it, you don't know how the season's going to be. I like to believe that Arsenal have figured out the Premier League in a way, especially the style of play, so they can get through a lot of teams fairly easily compared to other years. I think the only question you have with them now is that can they get over the line? That's my only thing with Arsenal. But let's see the development of like a lot of teams. But Jack, as you said, you mentioned Todd Bowley, and to me was so interesting at the start of the season that he thought that Chelsea were guaranteed to be in Champions League football, not realizing that this is not America where every team's guaranteed to be in the NBA next season. He thought Chelsea had the divine right to be in the Premier League.
Yeah,
No,
the top 10 places in the Premier League don't make the playoffs. Like, it doesn't work that way.
no, Chelsea. No, it's going to be a scrap, and Wenger said it before how he felt top 4 was a bit of an achievement. Jack, nowadays it is. Jack,
Never been more relevant than today.
to me, like Mo Salah's post on how he said he was disgusted. He wasn't disappointed, Jack. He was disgusted the fact that his team won't be playing Champions League football like next year. That's how important it is, Jack, to be in the Premier competition. It's like it can't happen. There needs to be a way how teams got to get into it. And Jack, I won't be surprised at a certain point, especially with the way there is with the Champions League. They might open more of a slot. They might be the 5th slot, might get you Champions League now. I won't be surprised if something like that. But as I said, Bar City, nobody's guaranteed a Champions League
Or,
spot.
or James, there's an increased value, right, in broadcasting rights, whatever, sponsorship for the Europa League. The Europa League becomes a bigger deal. And then actually finishing 5th or 6th, whilst it's not ideal, you can still look at it and go, actually, we're doing a good thing here. It's not the same as the top of the top, but the drop off's not as bad as it used to be. Conference League, too. You can look at the Conference League and go, hey, actually, it's not as big of a joke as it seemed to begin with, right? There's a good history in this competition already. James, West Ham are in the final, right? If you have the first 2 ever winners of the Europa Conference League as Associazione Sportiva Roma and West Ham United, that's a pretty strong 1 and 2 for year 1 and 2. It's not some team from God knows out of nowhere who we've never heard of before with players. These are legit teams, right? Legit, historic, powerful footballing organizations. Europa League too. We've seen the types of teams that have won it historically and that have done
Jack,
it.
we see the
That's
teams
the
getting
only
knocked
thing
out.
that I can.
Jack, look at the teams that have been knocked out this season: Arsenal, Barcelona, Juventus, Manchester United. What's another team that's been Spurs? Spurs weren't in. Spurs were no. Spurs went in. Jack, those four teams right there. Those are Champions League teams. Those are teams that have been in Champions League finals in the last 20 years. Those are the teams that got knocked out of the Europa League, Jack. That just shows
Exactly.
you the standard of it. But no one really wants to play in it compared to how big the Champions League is, Jack.
And that's the only way you bridge the gap. That is the only way you bridge the gap, realistically. And we have to be honest in terms of our assessment. And again, it's not trying to be rude to certain clubs. But if there are 4 spots open, we've got to start calling some clubs that kind of position might be a step too far. We can't have 8 or 9 teams that should be challenging for the Champions League. The way Brighton have done this year, James, right, and the players who they're going to sign in the off season and stuff, and how they're going to develop going forward, where they finished as well. Did Brighton finish 6th?
Yes.
Are Brighton going to look at that if they strengthen as well and they've still got De Zerbi and they've got a full off season? Are they going to go, man, maybe we should be trying to sneak into 4th? Because that's you're adding another team. James,
Jack,
Villa look really good too.
Jack,
You've got Unai
listen,
Emery. They're being linked with some insanely talented players as well. Are Villa going to start thinking, hey, man, maybe we should be finishing 5th or 6th here soon?
Jack, I'm just going to mention, okay, the top 4.
Yeah.
Man City, Arsenal, United, Newcastle. That's the top 4. The teams going into Europa League are going to be Liverpool and Brighton, and the team going into the Conference League, Jack. Jack. The Conference League is Aston Villa. Yeah, Jack. Look at that. Look at the stand, and Jack. Look at the importance that teams are putting into it. You've seen the celebration a team like Brighton had to get to play. I remember before it was a chore to play in it. Now it's
Right.
now a premier competition. The teams know that you win that. Not only do you win a European trophy, which is massive, Champions League football.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Conference League, people want to win that, and Unai Emery is going to look at it next year and be like, "This team
We can win
hasn't
that.
won a
Mm-hmm.
trophy
And
in
James,
ages.
and
I'm a specialist in that. Let's do it."
Like I said to you at the beginning, go on Twitter, go on the Conference League Twitter, go on the Champions League Twitter, whatever. Go and watch the Feyenoord players and the Roma players from last year's final. Watch their reaction when the final whistle goes. This is not a charity match where you go, "Oh, cool." I think Roma had already qualified for the Europa League anyway through the league. So like they didn't need it for anything. But you watch the pride and how they feel about it and how they celebrated it. Believe me, it's becoming a really, really big deal. Really, really big deal.
But guys,
Villa Conference League, man, crazy.
Jack, I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting tired now.
Yeah.
I feel like let me just read out the fixtures, and we're gonna end it there. Let's just read out the fixtures. Final day of the Premier League, just overall, just general chat. I mean, Jack, literally just chat live for you guys.
Yeah, for real. There was no
Just
planning.
had a chat live. Nothing really, but I just had a chat live. But just to finish off with the fixtures, Arsenal versus Wolves, 5-0 at Arsenal. That should have been the 5-0 title win, but don't get me started about Villa beating Brighton 2-1, so they're guaranteed Conference League football. Brighton already are in the Europa League. Brentford beating the champions, meaning Manchester City are not going to get 90 points this season. So the gap between Arsenal and City was only 5 points. So maybe we can say, oh, we're only 5 points difference between Man City and then going into the Chelsea game, Chelsea versus Newcastle 1-1. Both teams really have nothing to play for. Newcastle guaranteed Champions League there. My brother got the match ball to that game. Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest 1-1. Everton staying up with a big win, a big second half, 2-1 there. They stay up, which is massive for that football club. Leeds United going down, losing 4-1 to Tottenham. Leicester City did their job, winning 2-1 against West Ham, but wasn't good enough to keep them up overall. Just a terrible season for a team who won the Premier League 7 seasons ago, or 6 seasons ago, 7 seasons ago. Man United 2-1. Their home record this year, to me, has been fantastic. And Southampton leaving the Premier League with a bang, with a 4-4 draw against Liverpool, who will not be playing Champions League football.
And they'll be
Guys,
back. Saints will be back. Like just quick, Jay. I'm just going to do a couple of minutes just to like let people know what we got coming up and all sorts of other stuff like that. Like, guys, let us know what you want to see first and foremost. James and I have a bunch of ideas and stuff we're going to do. We're going to do some slightly longer form stuff where we take a look at some of the bigger squads and what might need to happen, where the players need to go, where the players need to come in and take an assessment. There are some huge off seasons coming for the likes of, say, Chelsea, for example, for the likes of, say, Spurs, for example, right? Manchester United, Arsenal, what do they need to do to kick on next? Man City are going to lose a couple of potential starters. Who are they going to come in to replace? There'll be lots of stuff like that. We'll be reviewing the season, seeing how each team did, maybe giving some grading on how each team did, where they can get better, what they can do going forward, reacting to transfer news. We've got a few fun ideas that we got going forward as well. Don't know how much Nations League coverage there's going to be, I've got to be honest with you. But obviously, if you guys have got any ideas, drop them in the comments, and James and I would love to listen to them.
Yeah, guys, comment down below. Let us know what you want to see us do. We're going to give the Champions League review soon, and any other thing, please let us know, guys.
FA Cup final,
Reaction to all of that stuff, guys.
Europa League final, got to drop that in there as well. You might be looking at a Roma team who qualify for the Champions League, Jose Mourinho, winning a Conference League, then a Europa League.
You know what? We'd love to see Arsenal and Roma in the Champions League in the same group. Beautiful. But guys, comment down below. Let us know what you think about this whole Premier League season and also this final day. Let us know. I'm exhausted right now. Been almost live for 2 hours. To people who stream, big up to you guys because this is tough,
for real.
you know. But guys, we are out. This is Box to Box Football. If you are watching, please subscribe. Really important. And me and Jack will see you guys. Let me just get that button ready next time. We're out, guys. Appreciate everybody.
Guys, thank you for watching, your comments and stuff. Sammy, always a pleasure.